Will the clerk please call the roll?
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Here.
Freeholder Felice.
Present.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Here.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Here.
Freeholder Zur.
Here.
And Chairwoman Voss.
Here.
No, he didn't make it.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And John Danubio, in honor of your birthday, would you please say the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please remain standing? A year ago, on May 21st, 2014, the County of Bergen was designated a stigma-free zone. We began this month passing Resolution 455-15, recognizing May as Mental Health Month. We conclude the month observing a moment of silence for award-winning mathematician, New Jersey resident, and Princeton University professor John Nash and his wife Alicia, who tragically died this past weekend. Professor Nash's life story and his struggles with mental illness, his diagnosis and treatment for paranoid schizophrenia, and his return to academic work, ultimately being awarded the Nobel Prize for his work in game theory, were both told in a book and movie called A Beautiful Mind. Rising awareness of the disease of mental illness, it is an effective way to reduce the stigma of mental health conditions, and so we need to acknowledge that. Today, very suddenly, an employee of Bergen County, Maureen Minotti, who worked in personnel for over 25 years doing workman's comp, disability, and unemployment claims, passed away. She had just retired one day earlier and very suddenly passed, so if we could have a moment of silence. Amen. Tonight, we will be voting on Resolution 531-15, recognizing May 2015 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Please join us tomorrow, May 28th at 4 p.m. I guess we're going to have it here because of the weather. We were going to have it outside, but now we're going to have it up here at 4 p.m., where we will recognize the achievements and the contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to the American story and to Bergen County. Will the clerk please read the minutes to be approved?
Minutes to be approved, April 22nd, 2015, work session, all present. April 22nd, 2015, public session, all present.
Move the minutes.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anyone from the public who wishes to speak, there is a 3-minute time limit in effect. The board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker has expired, the board attorney will inform us. If you wish to say something, please fill out a card and with your name and the general topic so we can keep a good flow. Okay, Floyd Beanstalk.
Good evening, Claude Beanstalk, Fairlawn. I want to talk again about the William Carlos Williams Center and the IZOD Center. While I am a great real estate agent, I'm always dealing with sales. I don't have a buyer for the William Carlos Williams Center, and I don't have a buyer for the IZOD Center. What I suggest that the Freeholder Board do is look into the possibility of getting one of the workers in the county administration building. It could be somebody working for the county executive or somebody working for the Freeholder Board to review all the procedures of what's happening with the IZOD Center and William Carlos Williams Center and make suggestions. That includes repairs and getting a possible buyer for both of these things. What other suggestions I could make? I don't have the answers. I wish I did. I know that the people in Rutherford, and I'm not representing the people of Rutherford, I'm representing myself, and I'm not representing the mayor. They want something done on this issue. I mean, there's no need for another study and another study, and the best response would be that we're looking into it. I don't know if the county executive has an answer for this problem. He may not, but maybe the freeholders meeting together can get a solution to this. It's not just selling it and getting a buyer. It's to get the right type of buyer to make sure that it works. When it's open with a new buyer, it works. So thank you for considering my views. I hope you can do something about this situation. Please don't ignore the situation, because the public really wants something to be done, and I don't have all the answers to this problem. I wish I did. Thank you for listening to my suggestions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Freeholder Tonelli.
I just wanted to quickly address a couple things Mr. Beanstalk just brought up. So number one is, unfortunately, I just noticed in an article regarding the primary that's happening next Tuesday that the Rutherford mayor felt that this board gave him lip service when we were down there. So I'm offended by the fact that he's claiming that this board gave him lip service as we address this very serious issue to Rutherford residents. I have been working with the county executive to set up meetings with those different groups and different segments with the Williams Center, which actually we did set up a meeting for 2 weeks from now. We're working to try and come up with a solution, but to simply say that we have too many studies and that we haven't done the due diligence, that building is in bad shape. And in order to come up with a possible solution to that problem, we have to know just how bad it is. So the county executive is, with my conversations, is willing to have meetings and discuss it with them, but nothing can be done until we know the legitimate condition of the building. That's how what's been relayed to me. I am certainly committed, being from down that area, I know the importance of the building, certainly committed to continue the process to try and come up with a game plan that everybody would be satisfied with. But you have so many different groups down there. Some want to save it, some want to sell it, some want to do nothing. So it's very important that all three groups are heard from and we come up with a real game plan on what to do down there, not just go blindly into the night. So I assured the people that I spoke to down there that we would give them some direction and we won't just keep kicking the can down the road. But to just blindly say that we gave them lip service was offensive, and I was insulted. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Anyone else? Freeholder Nicola.
Thank you. Through you, if I could continue with your remarks, Freeholder Tonelli. I think that it was understood that there was a feasibility study done, an engineering feasibility study that was quite expensive. And maybe we could begin by getting a copy of that and having that shared with each member of the Freeholder Board, so at least we have some understanding of the condition of the building, and we can go from there. I think that evening that we had our meeting on the road and we were down there, we all agreed that we were concerned, and there were many members of the public who spoke on behalf of that facility. But we really didn't have the history, knowing that this had been an ongoing issue for a very long time, or an understanding of locally what the goals were for the building, because it will take both. It's an odd situation in that the county owns the property, but the municipality owns the facility. So it will take all of us to find an answer.
I have to concur with Freeholder Tonelli. I ran that meeting down there, and I made a concerted effort to make sure that everyone in the audience who wished to speak had an opportunity to get up there and speak. And so, no one was excluded, and, I agree that, we should see the feasibility study. But, we heard quite a lot of information that evening. Freeholder Gantz.
Let me pay lip service to the mayor. He was at a different meeting than the one I was at, and the one that all of us were at. It's the mayor that really wasn't paying attention. We have, in the history of the time since I'm on the board, which is 13 years, at least a half dozen instances where the future of the Williams Center has been debated, in which it has been analyzed, and in which the deficiencies have been pointed out to all of the people who are interested in looking at it. And for the mayor to say that the board is not giving it current consideration or even prior consideration is ludicrous, and it's ridiculous, and it's insulting. But we were invited into his house. He wasn't nice to us there, so I'm not surprised that he's done anything other than continue that.
Freeholder Tonelli
Just
and
not-
Freeholder Felice.
Just not to belabor the point, but I would like to recognize that the county administrator eloquently discussed some plans that the county and the history, as well as some of the conversations that actually happened. So that's why I was a little taken back. I thought everything was pretty articulately laid out for the audience, and he was the only one, I believe, that came away with that feeling that they were supplied lip service.
And Freeholder Felice.
Here again, I just want to add my few comments, is that I was taken back by the comments. I mean, this board, each and every one of us, from my experience, has an open door policy to every constituent issue that comes to their attention. I know they're frustrated. You could tell by the tone of their voice and the amount of people that spoke that they felt that they were not being served well. And I think they happened to take it out on this board, and that's our job, to listen. But certainly, it's on our radar screen, and I think to Freeholder DiNicolo's point, and to Freeholder Tonelli's point, and my colleague David Gantz as well, that I think we need to kind of move the ball along and see what we can do to engage them to help us help them. You know, we can't just walk in there and say, this is what we're going to do, because that's not how each of us would want to have that happen to our community. And I think Dr. Novelli did an incredible job in articulating the next steps and a little bit of the history. But now we know, and let's move forward, and let's get the job done in providing what's best for the folks in Rutherford, East Rutherford, and for the folks, the taxpayers that are going to foot the bill. Thank you.
I'd like Dr. Novelli to have some comments on this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Briefly, I thank the freeholders for their kind comments about my explanation that night. I mean, clearly, I think we all walked away from that meeting recognizing that there are several different stakeholders that were present at that meeting. And quite frankly, not to belabor a point, but I mean, the history there has been that there have been those different stakeholders. There is a difference of opinion, and as Freeholder Felice noted, this is still something that is in Rutherford and has been part of Rutherford for a long time. And Freeholder Tonelli and I have spoken at length about it. And the fact of the matter is that you need to work with the community. And as Freeholder DiNicolo mentioned, it's a unique arrangement where it's county and municipal. So I mean, you have to take all of those things into consideration. We obviously have to consider the fact that the building is tired, the infrastructure is in poor condition, but at the same time, there are stakeholders there and residents of Rutherford that have strong beliefs on the future, and we need to really tie all those things together and to work with those folks and come up with a plan and move forward together.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. Joseph Dunsey.
Good evening, I'm Joseph Dunsey from 151 Concord Drive, River Edge, New Jersey. I brought printouts to facilitate the speech.
Give to John.
I used blue highlighter to highlight the most relevant paragraphs. So the first page is a page from a book I'm writing that's been on the back burner for a while, but it was relevant tonight. The book is A Citizen's Guide to Biology, and it contains the essential biology you need to run a government. The last paragraph of that page, I'll read it for you. Humans can synthesize half of the types of amino acids, but cannot synthesize 10 essential amino acids. These amino acids must be eaten to avoid nutrient deficiencies that lead to disease. A person who eats meat or dairy gets all the essential amino acids. Vegans can get all essential amino acids by eating a combination of legumes and cereal grains. Many traditional recipes contain such combinations. Because the human body does not store excessive amino acids for later use, it is important for a person to get all essential amino acids on a regular basis. Now, I knew about this because I took plant biochemistry when I was a senior in college, and the professor mentioned it. And of course, when you're writing a book, you can't just say, oh, I remember my professor mentioned it. So I found a source for this information, and I'll read you a couple paragraphs from that. First paragraph, the human body can synthesize all amino acids necessary to build proteins except for the 10 called essential amino acids indicated by asterisks, the amino acid illustrations. An adequate diet must contain these essential amino acids. Typically, they are supplied by meat and dairy products, but if those are not consumed, some care must be applied to ensuring an adequate supply. They can be supplied by a combination of cereal grains, wheat, corn, rice, etc., and legumes, beans, peanuts, etc. Now you look at the last paragraph, which I also highlighted. It says, the failure to attain enough of even one of the 10 essential amino acids has serious health implications and can result in the degradation of the body's proteins. Muscles and other protein structures may be dismantled to obtain one amino acid that is needed. Unlike fat and starch, the human body does not store excess amino acids for later use. The amino acids must be in the food every day. Now, the county is being penny wise and pound foolish because the kitchen at the homeless shelter doesn't provide a vegetarian alternative all the time that provides these essential amino acids. There's already a couple of clients there that cannot eat the meat at the shelter for either religious or sincere beliefs that they have. And starting next week, you're going to get a couple new clients.
Could you kind of bring it to a close?
So it would only take a few dollars a day to make sure you have some sort of vegetarian option for this class of people. Otherwise, there could be serious health ramifications.
Thank you. Mr. Nix.
Nick Hackensack. I really don't think you can discuss this docket in 3 minutes, 180 seconds. I think you should change the rule. I don't even know if it is a rule. And Mr. Floor, have you found out anything about this time limit?
No. 3 minutes.
The county has so much going on with the probation, the DPW, and new DPW. I really don't think they know what they're doing. I see you're going to do another study on the DPW, old DPW site in Hackensack. I go to the meetings. I went to open space last night. That's a joke. I was at the Rutherford meeting. I don't think the county has any historic cultural affairs department that functions. Last month, Senator Johnson's bank building on Main and Mercer got knocked down. Senator Johnson did Johnson Park, Johnson Library, the hospital. I tried through the county, through the state, through the town. Meant nothing. Was knocked down. We got a picture in the record of a pile of garbage. And basically, most of the historic buildings you see are a pile of garbage. You can only fix them up with people that'll throw money at them. And then the bottom line is, I don't think you have the money. Nobody's going to maintain them.
not sure.
They're just little farmhouses that's a group of people have decided we are going to have to save. The Main Street and Moore Street Bank building was rock solid and would have lasted another 500 years, and we destroyed it. The government and Bergen County government is in shambles. I'm with the National Trust Historic Preservation, Washington, D.C. I don't think we have one building in Bergen County on the register. We got the water company building. We've been talking about that, studying that for years. And I guess we could do the Carlos Center, put that on the list, study that for years. There's a whole ton of stuff. I can't do it in 3 minutes. The Midtown Bridge has to open for boat traffic. I'm going to take you to court if it doesn't open or stop the project. That's federal. Fishable, swimmable, and navigable. I don't know how you even can attempt to do this project unless it's more government shenanigans, like the Court Street Bridge. I just see total waste of funds.
3 minutes, Chairman.
Have a nice, I'll be back, but the only way you people are going to listen is unless you go to court. You're hell-bent on doing it your way. You don't listen to nobody. When I go through the Bergen County book and look at all the different government branches you have, you could wipe out half of them. The other best one is, now we're going to get involved with the VA at Bergen Regional. That is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life, to get involved with the VA. It's a total disaster. I'd rather go back into battle to go into the VA hospital. It's the biggest joke. Well, veterans and all that, the whole 9 yards is the biggest joke in it since I came back from overseas. It is one big joke, and now Tedesco decided he's going to go up there and do something from the medical Bergen Regional to the VA. I can't even believe in the morning when I read the paper some of the stuff I read.
4 minutes.
We had better get back to tying our shoes in the morning and quit tripping over stuff, quit getting into health care. All the different programs that you got out there that just don't function. Hackensack Hospital
Mr.
is
Nix.
worth $3.4 billion. I talked to a lot of people. They'll go up there and straighten the medical center out. No offense, freeholders. You're nice people, but a lot of this stuff is way out of your league.
Thank you, Mr. Nix. Anyone else wish to speak?
The police department ain't even straightened out yet.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to close.
So moved.
Close. Okay, please wait until I ask. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
3-minute rule stinks.
Well, I gave you 5.
187.
Will the clerk read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
475-15 through 489-15, 491-15 through 511-15, 513-15, 515-15 through 539-15, and 541-15 through 545-15.
May I have a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hold on. Okay, Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes?
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan?
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli?
Yes.
Freeholder Zur?
Yes.
Chairwoman Boss?
Yes. Are there any resolutions of non-consent pulled or tabled? If so, will the clerk please read?
Yes, there are. Resolution 490-15 is a resolution authorizing to initiate competitive contracting for a concession to provide advertising on the Bergen County community transportation vehicles.
Anyone wish to speak to that?
Sure.
Freeholder Tonelli?
Sure.
Need a motion and a second.
I'll make that
I'll
I'll
motion.
second it.
And a second?
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you, Chairwoman. I asked this to be put on non-consent so we could talk to it. This has been discussed for quite some time. It could be a great opportunity for the county to see some revenue for utilizing the sides of our buses and our transportation. So I'm very happy that this is finally moving forward and we're taking the next step. Thank you.
Freeholder Zur.
As community transportation has seen a decrease in funding based upon the decrease of revenue in Atlantic City, this creating this revenue stream is really invaluable. It is going to enable us to continue to provide rides to seniors to their doctor's appointments, rides to individuals with special needs who need to get to work in the morning. So to be able to increase our revenue is the only way that we're going to be able to continue to provide these very valuable programs. And I'm very happy to see this moving forward this evening. And it's taken us a lot of work to get it here.
Okay, Freeholder Gantz.
I just want to thank my colleagues for re-examining this issue, running with the idea. The fact is that the Freeholder Board considered proposals like this 10 years ago, and we were able to do nothing with it. I think the time is different, time is right, and I appreciate your diligence and hard work in bringing this to the forefront and making this happen tonight.
Anyone else? Okay, Freeholder Di Nicola.
Thank you. I just want to echo the words of my colleagues as well, that it is long in coming, and especially when we see the buses of other counties where the names of the freeholders are largely displayed on the sides of those vehicles. This is something that we're doing for the taxpayers, not to promote ourselves. And I look forward to this. Was that so funny? and oh, well, it's a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, since we've had a first and a second, roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gantz?
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan?
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli?
Yes.
Freeholder Zor?
Yes.
Chairwoman Vaz?
Yes.
Chairwoman, before we get to 514, Freeholder Di Nicola will now recuse herself.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Lisa, you can read it.
Okay, yep, okay. Resolution 514-15 is a resolution authorizing amended legal contract with Florio Perucci, Steinhardt, and Fader LLC to represent Maura Di Nicola, freeholder, in the matter Matthew Ryan versus County Board of Freeholders.
May I have a motion?
I am happy to offer that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second
Okay.
that.
Anyone wish to discuss?
I'm sorry.
514?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
Somebody seconded it already? I'll-
Yes.
Sullivan did.
I
Who
apologize.
seconded, Tom?
Yeah.
Really not a big deal.
Whatever.
Is there any discussion on this resolution?
No, Madam Chair.
No? If not, may I have a roll call?
Okay, Freeholder Di Nicola has recused herself. Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gantz?
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan?
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli?
Yes.
Freeholder Zor?
Yes.
Chairwoman Vaz?
Yes. Okay.
Chairwoman, may we pause to
Retrieve it.
retrieve the Freeholder?
Nah.
My advice was to retrieve her.
I defer to council's advice.
It's not me, Ron.
Okay, going on to 540.
Okay, Resolution 540-15 is a resolution authorizing the introduction of the 2015 budget.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
May I suggest that the body of the whole second it?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Freeholder Felice as chair
Yes.
of the budget committee. Would you like to say a few words?
I would love to. Thank you, Madam Boss.
Madam Boss.
Was that
Madam
with a
Chair,
B
Madam-
or a V?
It's like Madam the Father.
Never mind. Strike that from the record. I did a lot of that in the
Doing a lot
budget
of
hearings.
striking lately.
I know. I would like to begin by thanking County Executive Tedesco and his administration, as well as my colleagues on the Freeholder Board, especially my fellow Budget Committee members, Freeholder Gantz and Freeholder Zur, on hearing regarding the budget process. Our hearing schedule was ambitious, but with the help of Lisa, our clerk, so thank you very much, Lisa, and her entire staff, we were able to complete 20 hearings in 6 days. Even though reviewing the budget line by line was very laborious, I believe it was well worth the effort with over $1 million in cuts. I have thoroughly enjoyed working closely with each member of this board and administration in a bipartisan manner.
as well as each of the department heads to construct a budget that is responsible to the taxpayers of Bergen County and compassionate to the residents that receive the county's services, all while keeping our AAA bond rating. As a result of our efforts, we have cut the average household increase from the county executive's proposed budget of $12.77 to $10.73. I'm extremely proud of the work that we have done together and look forward to the introduction and eventual adoption of this budget. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Freeholder Tonelli.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Just a couple quick points regarding the budget. One is this is a true bipartisan budget. We all worked diligently to get to where we are now. I'd like to thank the county executive who was present for some of the hearings, as well as the first time myself sitting on this board, we had the county executive actually meet with us to discuss some of our additional cuts that we wanted to make. It was refreshing to have somebody willing to work with this board as opposed to butting heads every step of the way. I'd like to thank Joe Lupino for your hard work. Joe, I know it's not easy to sit in there and have us constantly want to cut and move and change things, but you did a great job. I appreciate it. I also want to point everyone's attention to the fact that when I ran for election with Tracy, we promised that if we got on this board that we would do everything in our power to restore the Bergen Community College back to where it was before the $5 million was cut. And I can say that this budget restores that money back to where the funding needed to be, and I'm proud of that. We worked very hard to do that. That college is a jewel in the state of New Jersey, and this is the time when we need to be providing affordable education for our children. And finally, the last thing is we're already seeing substantial savings from the realignment. That was a heavy lift for this board to do. At first wasn't a popular decision. We're already seeing reaping the benefits of that, and we're going to see more savings in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Freeholder Gaines.
Thank you very much. I offer a perspective of 13 years of budgets, and I want to tell you, Chairman Felice, that you did an outstanding job
Thank you.
shepherding this process. You really should be commended for not only the bipartisanship, but the fact that you reached out, even when an idea wasn't yours, and incorporated it into the budget in a way that really shows what happens when good people with good minds can work together. I want to thank Joe Lupino. I also want to thank Michael Kaplan for the work that he did in helping my office understand the dynamics of the realignment and just how much that's going to be affected by this budget. We're going to see a lot more of that in next year's budget when we have the experience of more or less a half year operating under this. And I think that the taxpayers are going to be very, if the taxpayers are not grateful, they will certainly nonetheless reap a substantial reward. I want to just point out two more areas that I'm very pleased with in this particular budget, and it is the Buckles library system, and we have restored that back to what it was, and with the help of Chairman Felice, we have an extra $25,000 that's going to Buckles, which is used by more residents of Bergen County than any other program. 9 million times in terms of the number of volumes of books that circulate throughout the county and to some outside of Bergen County. I know that there was some concern about having other towns share in the largesse, and I've been assured by Buckles that they do segregate the contribution of the Freeholder Board through the budgetary process, and it benefits the Bergen towns that are members of the Buckles system, which is not all of them, but most. And finally, on the issue of veteran services, we have again been able to increase the salary and wages and increase the staff back to what it was before it was cut by the administration. And let's face it, folks, veterans are the reason that we are a free nation today. And we owe these veterans more than what the federal government is willing to do on their behalf. So I call on the board to do more than what we've done, though I'm very grateful for the fact that we've now brought the staff up to full funding. Let's see what else we can do for our veterans. I'll talk more about the realignment at a different time. Again, to Chairman Felice, thank you, and to Chairwoman Voss, thank you for serving with me on the Budget Committee and for having faith in a bipartisan system that allowed Freeholder Felice to become chairman of the Budget Committee. First time that somebody from an opposing party is given such an important role. Thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Sullivan.
Thank you, Chairwoman. First, I want to thank the county executive who was with us through every step of the process. He really laid things out. Obviously, I want to thank Joe Lupino and his treasury staff for doing such a wonderful job and listening to all our cuts. And last but not least, besides my colleagues, Freeholder Felice showed a great bipartisanship, and we all were included in the process, and for that, Freeholder, I want to say thank you. I think you did a wonderful job, and it just shows we can all work together when we put our minds to it, and we had a common goal. It was a tough budget. It was a lot of things that need to be restored, and we restored them at a minimal cost, which is fantastic. Some of the things under consumer protection, there's now more funding for additional investigators to protect our residents from abuses and scams. Hopefully that money will be coming back in a form of and all the money we recover. Under our social services, there's a potential to generate more revenue for Bergen County now due to the funding for additional fraud investigation. I'm sure Freeholder Zor will talk more about that, being that she's the head of social services, so I don't want to steal her thunder. And one of my things I'm most proud of is the increase in mental health spending, 12% funding to address all the health needs of our county. As you know, when I took office, one of my causes that I really wanted to get out in front of was heroin addiction. And with this, hopefully with this funding, it'll allow our mental health agencies to better deal with addiction issues in our community, especially the heroin epidemic. But it's not just heroin, it's everything. So I couldn't have been more proud than I've been part of many budgets on municipal levels. And on the county level, things are a lot different, but I also want to thank the department heads. It's not easy when you come in and we go line by line over your budget. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, and all the department heads were very willing to do it with us, and I thank them for that. But again, I want to thank all my colleagues on the board for a wonderful put together budget, and say thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Freeholder Zerr.
Thank you, Chairwoman. First of all, I want to thank Joe Lupino, who was a rock star during this entire process. There was a lot of back and forth, and there was a lot of annoying questions that we asked, and you were always so there with all the answers and ready to talk to us in real terms about what we could do and what we couldn't do. I also want to thank the county executive who cut $13 million from the budget before it even landed on our desks, and Freeholder Felice, who chaired this committee so nobly. Sometimes it was like herding cats. There was a lot of moving pieces with department heads and all of us, and and to that end, I want to thank our freeholder aides. We don't often say thank you enough, but this was one of those processes where you all deserve a big pat on the back, because with the intense schedule that we had revolving around this, and with the tremendous amount of information we all had to digest, you were really invaluable to us. So thank you very much to all of you, because this was definitely a team effort. This budget, as you indicated, has cut over $1 million, but really what it is it's a statement. Budgeting is a statement of priorities, and we showed that our priority has been in refunding community college, but really also in the increases to mental health. We increased 12% to the division. We put forward new initiatives like the hoarding team to address the increase in hoarding, money for stigma-free and to increase awareness, money for direct assistance to mental health consumers, and for emergency disaster preparedness for individuals with functional needs. There was also a 7% increase to funding for mental health agencies like Care Plus, Comprehensive Behavioral Health, and West Bergen. All of these are invaluable for us to be able to help those in our community who are most in need. One of the things that I was also very proud of is that we put $30,000 into this budget for something for the Workforce Investment Board, which is near and dear to my heart, which is called Project Search. It's a program that is going to create internships for young adults with special needs and get them into to have employable skills and then move into employment so they can have meaningful productive lives as workers in our community. They are a tremendous asset. They have a great work ethic, and it's an untapped market, and I'm excited that we were able to do this in this budget and look forward to more to come. I was also very excited about cutting $200,000 of our legal fees. This was something that I think that speaks to the fact that we are all cooperating better on all levels of government, and that there's going to be more talking and less litigating. The way to solve government's problems is through building consensus, not through fighting it across the street in the courthouse. And so the fact that we are sending that message by cutting our legal fees, I think that's going to be a move in certainly in the right direction. I think we have now come to a time where it's not only government figuring out saying no all the time, it's figuring out how we can creatively get to say yes with uses of trust funds, uses of public-private partnerships, and all of these things were exhibited throughout this budget process. Chairman Voss, thank you for also the fraud piece, which Freeholder Sullivan touched on. I know that was your baby at the Board of Social Services, and something that you deserve a lot of credit for delivering. Thank you very much, and thank you to all my colleagues for your efforts in this process.
Thank you. Freeholder DiNicola. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's okay. I'm very happy to be the anchor freeholder. Is that, I want to echo the words of my colleagues here in that we did all work together under the leadership of Freeholder Felice. Thank you very much. The schedule was a challenge. We took our vitamins every day, but we got the job done, and that's the most important thing. Putting together a responsible budget for the taxpayers of Bergen County is our primary responsibility here, and I believe we did that this year. I'm proud to say this is my 5th county budget, and the first year we had a flat budget for the first time in a very long time, and we have moved forward in that direction. I think that we had excellent dialogue at all of our public hearings. Joe, I know it was difficult for you because there were a lot of questions raised, and the questions weren't always about numbers and facts, but sometimes they were about policies and priorities, and could you estimate or project for us what might happen in the future? And you did. And that was a wonderful thing for us in terms of making good decisions. And the same goes for all of our department heads and our division heads. We received email back all the time for the questions that were asked during our public hearings, from a 2 or 3 word answer to pages of answers in response to sometimes very difficult questions, very difficult I guess questions, I want to say, but projections, because it is a transition year, and transition years are difficult. We also made a lot of changes at the beginning of the year in terms of our administrative code. We reorganized departments, we combined divisions, we moved divisions, so there wasn't always that number to compare to from years prior. And once again, Joe, that's where you came in and put together as good a baseline as possible for us so that we had something to start from. Is it perfect? Nothing is ever perfect. We are human. But we did discuss that we were all committed to the fact that given the changes that are being made, we'll have more information as the year unfolds, and certainly for our budget next year. So the hope is we can save more money, we can create greater efficiencies, we can make government smaller by finding even more synergies among the work and the services that the county provides to the people of Bergen. So I am happy to say yes, we are all unified in what we put forward for 2015, and we look forward to the end of June when we'll adopt this budget. Thank you.
Just a few words, because I think we covered most of the bases. But anybody who's ever known me or worked with me knows that I always want to do things in a bipartisan way, because I think that is the only way we really can accomplish things. And I was very happy when John Felice accepted the position as chairman. And
So's my
when
wife.
he told me what his schedule was, I almost had a cardiac, because I said, this is unrealistic to do this budget, which usually takes weeks and weeks and weeks, and 6 days. And he had us up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we just went through, and I just can't say, I can't congratulate you enough. I didn't think it was possible, but you did it. And the people, as several of my colleagues have said, the department heads were just wonderful, and they went through it. But I have to give accolades and encomiums to Joe Lupino, who has done a yeoman's job. I think, yes. I can't believe that you were able to do all of the things we asked you to do, and always with a smile on your face. And you're one of the best gentlemen I have ever known, and one of the smartest too, I might add. So I'm very happy that you are CFO. Just a few things, because we kind of touched on all the things. I'm very happy this year that there is such great cooperation between the executive and the Freeholder board, because that's a very big plus in getting things accomplished. And as we pointed out, Jim Tedesco has come to many of our meetings, and which was great. I'm an educator, so what I'm very, very concerned with, and it's been touched on, is that we did restore the money to Bergen community, and we will be doing much more in the future. And just as a point, because the idea of helping veterans, Bergen community has some programs where veterans who are returning can get some advice on schooling and on job placement and things of that sort. And we are trying to do the best we can for our veterans to give them assistance and direction. The thing also closest to my heart are special needs children, and we've been able to, and I can't wait for the grand opening of the new special needs school in Paramus. It's going to save the taxpayers a tremendous amount of money by moving the facility from Rockley to Paramus. And we are going to have to do more and more in the future, because more and more children are being diagnosed with special needs. And last but not least, mental health is kind of coincides with special needs kids. And we are now a stigma-free county, and we're going to make sure that more and more people understand what stigma-free is all about, and that we have more programs that will help people with needs. And as I said this before when we opened the meeting, John Nash is a classic example of how people with serious mental disabilities can be helped and can become wonderful, productive citizens. And so again, I want to commend Chairman Felice and CFO Lupino and all of us who have worked so hard on this budget. Thank you. Now, I think we've had a motion and a second, so roll call, please.
Freeholder Dinacola.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Zor.
Yes.
Chairwoman Boss.
Yes. And we have it tabled.
We have one resolution tabled, 512-15.
Okay.
Excuse me, point of order.
Yes.
I don't believe that that was tabled, I believe it was postponed.
Oh, postponed.
Until
Okay.
next week.
Okay, correction.
The record will reflect that the resolution was postponed.
Okay. We will now go on to our ordinances for first reading and introduction of ordinances 15-12 and 15-13. Will the clerk please read ordinance 15-12 by title only?
An ordinance establishing the speed limits along Wyckoff Avenue in the borough of Waldwick.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 15-12?
So moved.
Second. Second.
Okay, roll call?
Oh, discussion first.
Okay. I'm sorry, discussion? Anybody want to discuss?
Speeding.
Okay.
Okay.
You don't want this
Okay.
person.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Freeholder Dinacola.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Zor.
Yes.
Chairwoman Boss.
Yes. Ordinance 15-12 passes first reading. Will the clerk please read ordinance 15-13 by title only?
An ordinance establishing the revision to the speed limit along County Road number 102, known as High Street in the borough of Gloucester, between Cluster Dock Road and Piermont Road.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1513?
So moved.
May I have a second? Any discussion on this ordinance? If not, roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Zor.
Yes.
Chairwoman Voss.
Yes. Ordinance 1513 passes first reading. Now, we are going to have committee reports, but may I say, since we had quite a discussion on the budget, can we keep our comments and our reports pithy? That's my nice word for the day. Pithy. Okay.
O'Reilly.
It's a good word. It means concise
SAT word.
and to the point.
It's
Okay?
an SAT word.
That's right. And for those out there, SAT word, P-I-T-H-Y. Okay, and I'd ask you to please keep it under 5 minutes, okay? Free cola. I'm sorry.
That was very pithy of you, Madam Chair.
It's been a long day. Freeholder Di Nicola.
My father-in-law wouldn't like that.
We could be free colas, you know.
That's right, there you go. Thank you. I'll be as pithy as possible. In terms of legislative affairs, I did attend 2 events in the past few weeks. The Bergen County Retirees Educator Association Luncheon, which was held at Seasons. There were about 500 retired teachers there, and as you can imagine, there were some hot legislative issues discussed, but there also was a discussion of the state of education right now, especially in light of a lot of things that are going on, tragic things with our young people. Freeholder Sullivan had mentioned drug addiction and alcohol abuse and also crime. And education, we know, is the answer, but it will never be the solution until we really prioritize it. And we do it the way it needs to be done. I also attended NJ Transit's public hearing right here at 1 Bergen County Plaza. It was very interesting. This is part of their roadshow throughout the state where they gave a presentation of their fare increases and also their reduction in services, which is a very difficult situation to accept, given the fact that ridership is up, and yet the monies they are getting from Trenton are down. So they presented what they have to do with the budget that they have been given, and we are going to see a cut in the train schedule, especially through the Pascack Valley, a reduction in a number of bus routes, and a 9% increase in fare hikes. And we did have a lot of members of Bergen County speak. A large number of our disabled citizens or citizens with disabilities spoke as well with some of the concerns that they're having and a number of inefficiencies that they've seen with the services that they are provided with, because they're taxpayers too, and they would like to see those monies spent better. It was overall a productive night, but of course that all depends on what changes actually take place. I also want to point out Freeholder Zor and I went to the Turning Point Program Award Ceremony. This is at Bergen Community College when we speak of all of the good things that are happening at the college. This is a perfect example of a cooperative effort to make something good happen. The academic institution under the leadership of Dr. Walter, there's grant funding there, the county, as well as special services from the Bergen County Schools District, all work together to encourage these young people with disabilities to graduate with a 2-year degree and to come out with a job and employment at the end. And many local businesses support this. We saw Walgreens, Walmart, TJ Maxx, Modell's. It was really refreshing to see everyone working together with very limited funding to make this a success. This is our 3rd graduation, I'm proud to say. We began this the first year I was a freeholder, and this is also the first year that these young people were allowed to graduate at the formal graduation of Bergen Community College a few days later, which so many of us attended, and during which my colleague, Freeholder Gantz, received the first ever honorary degree from Bergen Community College. And I congratulate him on that for all of his supportive efforts on behalf of that institution. I quickly want to say that this is Military Appreciation Month and also Memorial Day, which just passed. We went to so many events in support of not only our veterans, but those who gave their lives in defense of this country and all it stands for. We also had our Police Memorial Day service the Wednesday before last week, and sadly we did add 2 new names to the monument up there as well. And they too need our support in light of a lot of things that are going on across this nation. And I just want to end on a personal note. I am getting texts here that the USS Carl Vinson has pulled into port, an American port in Pearl Harbor, and my second son is there waiting for my first son to get off the ship. And hopefully in 2 weeks I'll be able to see him. It's been a long 10 months, but they're doing what they're trained to do, all of them. And while I say this with pride, it's a very humble pride because, boy, it's a great country, and it's great to see young people in defense of their country. And thank you.
Freeholder Elise.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
2 points. I just want to thank Michelle Lagercio for doing a wonderful job in getting the budget process together. Michelle, please stand. So thank you very much, Michelle. You did an outstanding job, and we all appreciate that. Secondly, and the last point I'm going to make is I'm very honored to be a part of the subcommittee to review the policies and procedures regarding body cameras for the sheriff's officers. I think in light of what's been going on throughout the nation, it is imperative that we embrace technology to provide the safety for our officers, but as well as for the civil rights of the residents and the citizens of our great county. So I look forward to participating with my colleagues, Freeholder Zor, Freeholder Tonelli, on that committee as we move forward. And thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Before I only have a few things. I'm going to be brief, but before I start, I just want to wish Assemblywoman Holly Shapizi a speedy recovery. She had a very serious surgery this week. I understand that she's resting comfortably, but I want to wish her well. I'm sure everybody on this board does as well. A couple things. I spent a lunch at Jefferson Grammar School in Lyndhurst. I'd like to commend 8th grade teacher Darius Hughes for the 14th year. What they do is it's a day for heroes where they honor the veterans. They give them lunch, dessert, and they bring them in, and the 8th grade teachers, the 8th grade students perform for them, and they get an opportunity as one of the assignments to interview the veterans and ask them questions as a report, as a project. And I'll tell you, some of the questions that they ask and some of the interaction is really priceless. And as we're losing more and more of the veterans, those stories go away, and it's a real learning opportunity. So I went down representing this board proudly to support that program. I believe there should be many more, as well as I know you're a big history buff, and I believe that we're losing that. and it's important that we continue these programs. So more power to Darius Hughes. And then, like all my colleagues, I saw most of them all weekend. We walked in, we walked in many parades. I just want to remind everyone that Memorial Day isn't the 4th of July. It's not really a day of celebration. It's a day of remembrance and a day of observance. And it's an opportunity for us to be at the memorial services and speak and represent this board and this county for those that perished, that gave the ultimate sacrifice, so that we have the opportunity to sit here and we have the opportunity to enjoy the freedoms that we do. So this was my 13th year as an elected official, being able to celebrate, observe the Memorial Day weekend opportunities, and I'll tell you, it's very humbling, and every year I'm more and more honored to be there representing whatever body that I'm actually on. So I just want to say thank you, and God bless our veterans. Thank you.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Well, there's a lot of things we did over the weekend, boy, I tell you. Well, I'd like to start by just a few things that would happen during the month. I was able to attend for the Freeholder Board the Bergen County Bands Festival. It was in Oversight Park. There were 4 bands that participated in it, and it was a wonderful event. People get to use the park. Overpeck has just turned into a wonderful place to be, and everyone wants to be there. So please get out there and use Overpeck. Last evening I was able to attend the Paramus Dare graduation, which is always great to see the young children being educated on the problems that you encounter with drugs and alcohol and violence as well. They did a wonderful job in Paramus, and the kids, I want to congratulate them all. Most of us here also attended the Bergen Community College graduation, which was really a wonderful event, and like we said, we did restore some of the funding towards the college, and we know it's going to go to great use for Bergen County residents. As Freeholder DiNicola mentioned, Police Memorial Month. Our hearts and souls are with the police. Obviously, it's a job that, to put it mildly, people like to maybe throw stones at, but they certainly don't know what it takes to put on uniform every day and support and protect everyone here in our county as well across the world. I've had the pleasure on town councils to be a police commissioner, and I understand and appreciate everything that goes into what it takes to be an officer to serve our great country. Nobody's perfect. Things don't always go as planned, but rest assured they do a wonderful job. We had the honor of being invited to celebrate Memorial Day in the First Baptist Church in Teaneck, and I was ready to run a marathon after that. I tell you, it was a heck of a thing. They honored the Buffalo Soldiers, and it was a wonderful event. And I was very happy. David's going to get me into all the Baptist churches. So. And Memorial Day, you just spoke about the Police Memorial Month. Memorial Day, we all had the opportunity to attend many parades. But like our Freeholder Tonelli said, please remember, we're not here, we're not celebrating, we're observing and we're respecting what the people that have done for our country have lost our lives. And I've made it a personal pleasure to thank the veterans, even though it's not Veterans Day, it's Memorial Day, but these are the people who really made this country what it is. And anything we can do to honor them is definitely respectful. And again, along the lines of Freeholder Tonelli, you must have read my script tonight. But Memorial Day, just remember, guys, Memorial Day, it's not a sale day, okay? Everyone wants to hear about Memorial Day sales. It's about honoring the men and women who served our country. And I'll leave you with that. Thank you, Freeholder.
Thank you. Freeholder Gantz.
I was going to pass entirely tonight and not talk about anything, but I'm going to just talk for a brief moment about Memorial Day and how I spent a portion of my day. Not the parades, not the speaking engagements. I went to the cemetery to visit my son's grave. He is the forgotten veteran, the 22 veterans who commit suicide each day. And as the honor roll was read in the borough of Fairlawn, they read the dead from World War II, from World War I, from the Korean War, from the Vietnam War, and then they stopped. Now we know that there's one person from the borough who died, but there are others. We know that there are 22 veterans who commit suicide each day at a minimum. We know there are more because the federal government doesn't require, and the states of California, Texas, and Illinois don't include the veteran status of anybody who dies in their jurisdiction. This is a tragedy. It's a national tragedy. First, that they die. Secondly, that they're not honored. And it's something that gave me significant pause, and I just wish to share that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Freeholders there.
Thank you. I had the opportunity to go to Atlantic City to the New Jersey Association of Counties meeting, which was the first time I got to go and attend. And I will tell you, it was really an engaging opportunity to trade ideas with and see what other counties are doing. So we don't have to create the wheel. There are some very interesting things we went to. I specifically went to one on how Camden is dealing with their heroin problem, and it was really eye-opening, and I think it's going to bring back some really interesting topics for us to discuss and digest. So I'm thankful to the New Jersey Association of Counties for sponsoring this and for giving us the opportunity to really exchange ideas. As all the others of my colleagues have mentioned, this was a very big time as far as Memorial Day events, but also the police memorials. I attended the one in Paramus at the Sheriff's Department, and also the rededication of the Marion Calora firing range up at the county. These were beautiful tributes to people who are out there every single day protecting our community, and they were very moving. And I just, at this time, it feeds into the conversation about body cameras, which we had the sheriff had a press conference on, and we're going to be dealing, I hope, next week with a resolution that's going to come before us to formulate officially the advisory panel to set forth guidelines. Body cameras are important. They provide transparency, they provide accountability. They also back up police officers' stories in many situations as well. We need to make sure, though, that we have guidelines that protect the public from privacy concerns, and that also protect our officers so that they're following the rules. So I look forward to working on that with the panel. And additionally, attended this week the Center for Behavioral Health Foundation dinner, which was so well supported, and so good to see so many people coming out to support an organization dealing with mental health issues. And they've been on the forefront of this for over 40 years. I also had the privilege of speaking at the Valley Hospital Foundation 5th Annual Women's Luncheon. It was 500 women, all concerned about supporting wellness issues in our community, and it was very energizing to see in politics, we're surrounded by a lot of men all the time. It was very nice to see some women who were ponying up and becoming engaged in caring about their community in that way. On a personal note, also, I went to the retirement dinner for my longtime cantor, Mark Biddleman, who retired after 48 years on the Bema at Temple Emmanuel in Wycliffe Lake. He was the person who taught me my bat mitzvah lessons, and as I walk into this weekend getting ready for my daughter's bat mitzvah, it was very poignant to see how passionate he has always been about serving the needs of his community. And so I wanted to wish him a hearty congratulations and mazel tov on his retirement. Thank you very much.
Just a few things. On May 8th, in my town, Fort Lee, they broke ground for a special needs complex, so that I don't know how many units it's going to be, but it's under the leadership of Tom Toronto, United Way, and one of my former students, I always call her by her maiden name, Sherry Raimondo, is the person who designs and oversees all of or implements all of the things that are necessary for assisted living. And so if every town did a complex like this, we wouldn't have the issues of what happens when parents get too old to take care of their disabled children. And so one of my missions is to make sure that every town will eventually have a complex like this. Allendale has 2, and they're very beautiful, also done by Tom Toronto and Sherry. We had the Historic Preservation Awards the other day at Bergen Church in Hackensack, and it was really wonderful to see some of the things people have done. And I want to commend Cynthia Foster, who is now in charge of cultural and historic affairs, because she's really doing a good job. And getting more attention because Bergen County is one of the most amazing counties in terms of the historic significance. I mean, we go back to way before the 1600s. We also had a ceremony here for Yom HaShoah because this is the 70th anniversary of the end of World War II. And it was a day of remembrance, and we have to remember not only on Memorial Day, but we have to remember the significant things that have happened in our history that must be told and must be learned by the young people. This was Law Enforcement Week last week, and I was so proud because not only did I go to a memorial service up in Mahwah, but I also went to Fort Lee because we promoted several members of the police force. And one of them was a young man named Stephen No, who is one of my students who came to this country at the age of 11 and was an outstanding student and became a member of the police force, and he now is a lieutenant and the highest ranking Korean American in law enforcement in the state of New Jersey. We went to, as we all said, many memorial services, and as Steve pointed out, it irks me when somebody says Happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance and thanksgiving for those who have served this country. I went to Little Ferry, which always has a very emotional service because they lost a young man, Sergeant Matt Fenton, a few years back in Afghanistan. And the most interesting ceremony I attended was at the Hackensack, the USS Link, where guys who had served in the submarine service were paying tribute. And I have to say, Senator Menendez was there, and he told us that in the very near future, we are going to have a battleship called the USS New Jersey.
A submarine.
A submarine,
a
yes.
Virginia-class submarine.
Moore and I were there,
Right.
and when Senator Menendez gave his remarks, we were very, and people there were just wonderful in terms of doing the memorial service in one of the most wonderful ways. And because I'm chairman, I'm very fortunate because I get a chance to speak at many of these memorial services. And one of the things I did was to mention the fact that so many of our young people who come back from Afghanistan and Iraq are casualties of war, and they have to be remembered. And I always mention Scott at these services because he is one who should be honored for his service. And when we were up at the memorial service, the chief of the police chiefs, the president of the police chiefs society, I'm tired, I'm sorry, had a couple of quotes that I thought were really wonderful. And I said to him before I left, may I use the quotes that you used? And he gave me the copy of his speech. And in every speech that I made over this weekend, I used these two quotes, and I want to leave them with you. One is from John Kennedy, and he said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men and women it produces, but by the men and women it honors and remembers." And General George Patton's one of my heroes, and he said, "It is not right to mourn the men and women who have died without thanking God that they lived among us." And so God bless all of those people who have given the ultimate sacrifice, and God bless America always. Thank you. Okay. There nothing more to be brought before this body. May I have a
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's all right.